What's up? Welcome back to Cryptographics and also to TORUS.win. So I'm going to be doing this stream because some major changes have just occurred with the TORUS smart contracts, with some of the foundational stuff for TORUS. And in this live stream, I'm going to be going over the major changes. And if you haven't seen them already on Twitter, this is the stream for you. So before we get too carried away, let me just quickly go ahead and share this all out so that anyone on Twitter, or sorry, X, will be able to see that the stream is live, and we'll get going here. And if you're watching this right now and you want to see this, be sure to go ahead and share this out and interact with me here during the stream, because we're going to have opportunity to answer a lot of your questions, because we're going to talk about Titan X, we're going to talk about TORUS, and much, much, much more. So let me just send another reminder into the rooms here, and give me 1 second here, guys. Where did it go? Oh, I lost my tab. Sorry. 1 second. Okay. Wait, no, that's the wrong link. So the one thing I'm realizing I don't like about X is you can't set if you set a stream notice here on StreamYard, you can't actually go ahead and send the link out to the stream ahead of time. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I wish they would fix that, or maybe someone's on, I don't know, we'll see. But I got one more thing to post somewhere else, and then we're good to go. All right, let's get into it. Where is my tab? Here we are. Okay, sweet. So I'm excited for this because TORUS is going to do so, like once TORUS is out, you guys can actually see how simple TORUS is, how much TORUS can do. You're going to be really, really, really happy with it. You're going to be really stoked on it. And so let's go over the changes. So previously, let me just share my screen here. When it comes to, or when it came to TORUS, hold on, I got way too many tabs in this thing. 1 second, guys. Sorry, so I can figure out which one of these tabs. Oh, there it is. The first one. Sweet. So you guys are seeing this? Fantastic. Let's go down here. I like this better. So for TORUS, now the way it was originally designed was to be built on top of X28. And I'm actually going to bring it up right now. And we'll go here. So how the buy and burn, or how the liquidity setup was originally routed, was you'd have X28 and you have TORUS, and that would be your pair. Now, if you don't know what X28 is, X28 is a one-to-one version of Titan X that is omni-chain. So you could come here, let me share this tab, to X28.win, and you could go ahead and you could transform your Titan X to X28. Now, right now, it's a better deal actually to go buy on Uniswap. So X20 is actually off its peg by about 6.8%. It's been slowly climbing its way back up. But now TORUS is going to have nothing to do with X28. It is going to have a liquidity pool with Titan X and Titan X only. Now, this changes a lot. Okay, so with X28, when you send one Titan X through to create X28, the Titan X that you sent in to transform goes into the smart contract. Now, for every one Titan X that goes in, 50% of that gets burnt. Okay, so if $1 million were to come through this app here in Titan X, 50% of that would get burnt. Now, it's all getting minted on the other side anyways, right? But then the 50% of the Titan X that remains is going to buy and burn X28, right, to be able to uphold that peg. Now, right now, the buy and burn doesn't have anything in it. We're off peg. And this is not the issue, though. This is just more of a status thing of where X28 is. But the big thing with TORUS is that was going to mean that because TORUS is a perpetual protocol, meaning every single 88 days, it allows you to replay the game, to come back in, to bring in more Titan X or more ETH, right? The game for TORUS was going to burn a ton of Titan X. It was also going to mint a ton of X28. So that value is still there in terms of it being able to come backwards, right? It could be still sell pressure. So the big thing, though, was as I was thinking about liquidity, as I was thinking about the longevity of this protocol, as I was thinking about, my vision and where I want to see things, how I want to see, or how successful I want things to be, I realized that because the ratio, there's an ROI specific to TORUS, right? Like there in TORUS, there is a create and a stake option. And I'll go back to the tab here that we will the white paper. So this here, if you're unfamiliar with TORUS, this is how simple TORUS is. You either create or stake. Both of these actions earn you more TORUS over a period of up to 88 days. So at the 88-day mark, everyone's stakes or everyone's creations would finish and they have to come back in, right? So this would mean a lot of Titan X would be pulled in every 88 days or cumulatively over time. Let's say over maybe a couple of years or a year or two, this would be a lot of Titan X that would be pulled in and a lot of Titan X that would be burnt. So pushing X28 out of the mix undermines the burn rate. But what's important to understand here is that there's an ROI when it comes to creating specifically. There's two different ROIs for creating and one for staking. Now, for creating, the ROI that you're going to get is based on the price of TORUS relative to the price of Titan X, right? Let's say it takes 1 billion Titan X to create 1,000 TORUS. If the ROI is basically, I think it would be 0, or basically, if you wanted to have a break even ROI 0 before you earn anything, then the price of TORUS would need to be $1 if Titan X was 5 zeros 1, right? So basically you can see how there's like a ratio there. You have, and if TORUS would come up, basically go above $1, the ROI would increase. If TORUS would go below $1, the ROI would decrease to negative. And this is because there's that ratio. But what happens is if you have TORUS, which is ROI is based on the price of Titan X relative to TORUS and vice versa, and its ratio, and you have something else in the mix in the middle of it, like X28, that can move freely on its own and potentially to the downside, then you actually have a potential issue. And this isn't anything to do with X28 specifically, but it's more to do with what happens in the system in TORUS, where another token is pulling it down, and that pulls it out of its potential prime situation and can pull it into its recovery mode, so to speak, or stake mode, where it's not going to be viable to create. It's really only going to be viable to stake. And I really have deeply thought about this whole system, how it needs to be set, all the different liquidity parameters. And this has really been the most simple approach that seems like it has to be there, to have nothing else in the mix, to have it just simple and straightforward. So X28 has been removed from the TORUS process. Now, because I want to be able to make there still be some burning going on of Titan X, right? In TORUS, there is 84% buy and burn and 8% buy and build. So 8% is dedicated to building liquidity, 84% is dedicated to buying and burning TORUS, and 8% originally was to Genesis. So here's the other thing. Genesis now will not have 8%. Genesis will only get 3.69% of the Titan X and ETH that comes in. So there's 4.31% now that's left over. And that 4.31% is going to go to burning specifically Titan X, in the form of when Titan X comes in, it'll be burnt. When ETH comes in, 4.31% of that will go to buy and burn Titan X to make sure that the tokens are deflationary and the tokens supply is coming down. Okay, so now Genesis only gets 3.69%. 4.31% of all the economic energy coming in goes to buying and burning Titan X, and 92% in total goes to buying up TORUS, or 88%. And then there's some that goes to liquidity and whatnot. But I want to just check in to see if anyone's going in, or anyone's leaving any comments. And Trust Titan X Planet, what is up? What's going on? Thank you for being here. Is this making sense? Please, if you are watching this on YouTube, because I'm streaming on the TORUS channel as well. I'm also streaming, obviously, on here on Cryptographics, and I'm streaming on the TORUS X channel as well. So these were a couple of the big changes. Now, let's go a little deeper into the white paper. And again, if anyone has questions about what I'm saying here, please, I'd love to chat with you. I want to have an open dialogue here about TORUS, tell you guys what's going on. But let's go into the Titan X and ETH distribution, because there's a couple things I wanted to show you here. So before, in the liquidity pool section, there was talk of PLSX, and this has been changed now. So the first approximately 20K of Titan X is going to be paired with one-time minted TORUS in a full-range Uniswap V3 liquidity pool. This is actually not going to be sent by Liquidity Wallet. This is going to be done by smart contract. And the fees will be placed into the buy and build smart contract to be re-added back into liquidity. But what you may have remembered is that there was a segment here talking about 20K in ETH being placed into a one-time liquidity wallet that was dedicated to go buy PLSX and create a TORUS wrap TORUS PLSX pair over on Pulse Chain. That is no longer happening. After, again, careful, deliberate thought about everything that is best for TORUS, that doesn't make any sense, which you will see in the future of why. But it needs to be focused on, there's only one pillar that TORUS sits on for its liquidity, for its price, for its demand, and it can't be getting dragged around from outside places. I'll tell you, I'll share this with you. So let's say Titan X goes up in price, right? But PLSX and TORUS has a thick liquidity pool. Now, what happens if Titan X is going up and PLSX isn't going up, right? Well, this could mean that because TORUS and Titan X have a ratio that they work around in order for the system to operate in its creation mode or its staking mode, then if PLSX is linked via liquidity, PLSX acts like an anchor to the price. And so what it will do is it will actually drag down TORUS while Titan X is going up. And what this does is it actually pulls TORUS into a staking mode, and it knocks it out of its ratio, that zone that it's supposed to have with Titan X when it's operating properly. And so because of this, TORUS has to be able to free float above and below and operate only based on the market and the buy and burns, and cannot be tied to any other liquidity pools whatsoever. This system is very delicate in that sense. It's robust, but it's delicate in terms of where its liquidity is. If its liquidity gets too thick outside of its main pillar, it has the potential to bring it down, which, I mean, in the long run, it's not going to be an issue because it will just allow more staking to happen, but it would undermine the ability for the buy and burn to really bring in a lot of resources, and having that elasticity on the price is very good. Bringing in more economic energy just helps the ecosystem or the system itself. So that was a really important change that also needed to be made. So let me just go back to chat here, see how everyone's doing. Streamlines the whole process. Yeah, streamlines the whole process, but causes more longevity. Smart play would have caused a push-pull from Pulse to ETH. Well, exactly. And I know I've alluded to things that I want to work on and things in terms of like my vision per se. And the vision has changed a little bit, but what will end up happening will be better in the end. And there will probably be a similar width of plan, but it will happen in a more independent way that does not allow this system to be pulled around based on what other token prices are doing, right? Which will be, I think, great. And what's fantastic for this is now, because we'll be streamlining this whole process here, this whole system, now creating a version of this potentially somewhere else, if it goes really well, could happen in a week or two. instead of having it be months of redesigning, reintegrating, doing all the DApp stuff. It could literally take a week or two to take this code, duplicate it over to something else. So it's just made so much sense in so many different ways. I mean, from an auditing standpoint, you audit the code once and then it's fully done. You audit it until it needs to be no longer audited, and then you can just basically fork your own code. And if it makes sense to do, obviously, bring it elsewhere. So we'll see. I mean, you guys are going to have to wait to find out what's going to go on there. I don't want to give away or tell anything else about that, but I see Jukes is in here. Jukes, what's up, man? Good to have you. And if you have any questions, guys, Trust Titan X plan, Jukes, I'd love to know what you guys are most curious about with TORUS. What are you guys most excited about? What would you like to know maybe about the ecosystem and how TORUS is going to affect the ecosystem? I would love to hear that. TORUS is so much to offer. I mean, if we go, there was a post I made today on the TORUS X page, and I'll see if I can find it. Where is it here? So there's some interesting comments that came up from it. And let's talk about this actually. So I'll share this tab for a second. So again, if you're not following TORUS on X, make sure you're going and doing that at TORUS Win. And there's also, if you want to get in the Telegram, if you go to the TORUS main page, you're going to see that t.me/TORUS Win is the Telegram if you want to get in there. I sometimes do voice chat. Most of the time, we are doing lives on here on X and on YouTube. But sometimes from time to time, we do voice chats. And, after this, actually, maybe I'll do a voice chat in the Telegram, see if anyone's around and if you guys have any questions. But only if you guys either comment on the stream itself or go ahead and drop me a comment here in the live. So anyways, though, let's get back to this post. Now, the only other thing that we hadn't talked about of what I had put out there today is that this is unique to TORUS. No additional TORUS. Well, it's not so unique to TORUS, but in terms of other staking protocols and other things you might have seen used in the past, the only TORUS that will be minted is going into the liquidity pool. There is no origin address. There is no source address. There is no Genesis that gets any TORUS tokens whatsoever. The only TORUS that comes into existence is the TORUS that is either created or earned. One of the two. There's no other way to get TORUS. It is completely fair. And this creates a pretty cool dynamic. And what you'll see once we have a couple more things sorted out in terms of the exact ratios we want to use for TORUS with the ratio from TORUS to Titan X for creating, then we can tell you the exact liquidity numbers that are going to come out. And things are going to be cool. There's phase 1 and phase 2 for the buy and burn and the buy and build. It's all looking fantastic. So let's see. Juke's got a question or a statement here. Let's see. I like the changes. You want TORUS, especially the start, to be a compounding machine. 100%. It's got to be a compounding machine. So, and that was this design. I mean, if you go and look at a TORUS, right? If I go to, if we go here and I go to the GIFs, and they have a great TORUS GIF. This thing here. This, in and of itself, this is what TORUS is. It's a magnetic field that is rotating around and around infinitely. But what it also is a compounding machine, because you put funds in, it comes out, and it goes around and around and around and around and around. That's what TORUS is designed to do. You show up, you bring your ETH, you bring your Titan X, you make an ROI. Then let's say the system is still in create mode. Well, you sell some or all potentially, and you create again, right? Bring more Titan X and more ETH back into the system, and you go around and around and around. And let's say what happens, or let's say you do a creation period of 88 days, and the price is below where it's favorable to go and create. Well, what that means now is you can take your tokens and stake them to keep earning TORUS in the same way you were earning with creating. So you can always be making your tokens work for you. There's never a point in TORUS where you are stuck. You are always earning from the same source. It's just the door changes on which one you use to access the source. Think about it like this, right? Torus is based around shares. If you can think about that. Now, how do you get shares? Well, you can either obtain shares from staking or you can obtain shares from creating. Whichever way you get shares, the system doesn't create, but it's going to pay out those who are shareholders in TORUS tokens over the course of 88 days. And this is a super unique proposition that just hasn't been done before. So it's going to be an absolute animal. Now, the other thing that I really want you guys to understand is with TORUS, the ROI is based on a number of things here. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring up Canva, and I'm going to explain this to you guys because I really want you guys to understand how the whole ROI works for TORUS, because once you get it, your eyes will get a little bigger, your pupils will dilate, you'll get a little FOMO. You know, it's a really, really interesting dynamic that is going to force people to pay attention to TORUS. If you don't pay attention, you could be missing out, because the less you pay attention, the more someone else is getting an ROI. So let's go to, let's see here. How do I want to do this? Let me share this tab. Okay, can you guys see this? Let me just double check here. Cool. So, and real quick, so will this actually be able to say TORUS on base as well? What I would say is, if there was something to end up on base, it wouldn't be TORUS. It would be called maybe something different. But it could happen. Very well could happen. Could be 6 months down the road, though, after TORUS launches. Could be a year. Could be a couple weeks. We'll see. So back to Jukes with the compounding machine. So where is Canva here? So let's see. I want the cylinder. So I want you to imagine that this here, is this just a hockey puck? I think it's just a white hockey puck or something. Let me get an actual cylinder here. Okay. So here is all of the yield. Now let's just go TORUS. Actually, I think I need to go Flower of Life. And it'll give me probably, let's go. Here we go. Okay. So this here is where all the TORUS tokens are distributed. Okay. Now, if we're talking about the first 88 days, there's about 8 million tokens coming out that are going to be distributed over 88 days, right? So if those tokens are each worth $1, right? 8 million tokens at $1 is how many dollars? 8 million. $8 million, right? And $1 is 8 million. So now what this means is there's 8 million. Okay. So if you've got a bunch of people, or let's say you've got one person, right, that comes in, well, they're going to get all the tokens. Okay. They're just going to scoop up all the tokens worth $8 million. If two people come in, right, then now you're going to split that in half. And this also depends, right? This assumes that each person comes in with an equal amount. Okay. They're both going to be fighting over this $8 million worth of tokens. But if a third person comes in, so on, so on, so on, it basically gets reduced to spread among the people. But now, let's say the first 88-day period closes, right? And the second 88-day period opens up. Now, let's say another 8 million. It's not quite this. It's going to be less the second time around, because there's difficulty measures within TORUS that always make it a little more difficult to acquire the tokens and create them. So let's say, though, it's another 8 million tokens that are here. And let's say in this first time around, there was a ton of people that got into TORUS the first time around. Okay. And the ROI was like 50% or something like that. Right. And all these people are like, I don't know. I don't really want to go in again. And only a small chunk of these people come down here. Well, let's say it's legitimately half of the shares or half of the people come back. So half of the pool is taken up again. And let's say there was a total of this ROI was, let's say 50%, or let's say it was 100%. Actually, let's say it was 100%, right? The ROI for this time down here, if half of the people left and they didn't come back for this time, the ROI for the next round would be 200%. This is because half the people are in the pool that were before and tokens are still being distributed. If this is cut in half, like if a quarter of the people come in, right, then now you have 400% ROI. So you could see how quickly things get crazy with TORUS. So if people stop paying attention, the ROI goes up. Also, if the price goes up in TORUS and Titanx, this also has a similar effect where if it costs more US dollars to get into the pool, right, it's harder to gain access to the pool, harder to create shares. Therefore, the ROI is potentially larger because it takes way more economic energy to come in and get shares in the pool, which means, so let's say over the first 88 days here, right, this 8 million tokens, this is what's up for grabs at $1. Let's say though that the price is $1.80, $1.75. Okay, so TORUS is $1.75. Okay, this means that if I do, we'll find the exact number here. Let me just grab my my trusty calculator, and we'll do 8 million times 1.75 is $14 million. So that's $14 million in tokens. Okay, $14 million, 14 million even in TORUS tokens. So what this means here is, because when people are creating, they're creating tokens up front, meaning if, let's say you put in a billion TORUS and you create 1,000 TORUS, that's your principal that you're getting. You get 1,000 TORUS and then you earn on top of that, which comes from this portion that we're talking about here. So if TORUS is $1.75 over the first 88 days and there's $14 million in tokens, the system can handle $1.115 billion before, let me just, before the ROI goes to 6%. And this is at $1.75. This is talking about today. If TORUS were to launch and be $1.75, this is how much it could handle before the ROI gets squished down this much. So imagine now if TORUS is like $10, because Titanx is ripping. It's done a 10x. So TORUS is $17.50, right? That means you could basically take this number here and almost amplify it by 10x to show how much it could handle before the ROI goes to 6%. Let me just pause here to see if you guys are getting this. I'm not seeing any comments. I'm just gonna pause for a moment. If you're watching this right now, please drop me a comment. I know I'm getting a little technical, but I'm trying to write this all out and show you the diagrams and everything so you can actually understand this. But I'm gonna wait until I get a comment from somebody with some question or some statement. I really, yeah, damn. Like, this is how TORUS is supposed to be designed or supposed to work. And so TORUS, if Titanx ever goes down, right, it pulls down the potential ROI, which here's what you're going to see. There's a self-balancing mechanism, right? So as the total value of the pool goes down, less participants come in, right? Which means the ROI goes up for those who stick around, right? But those who get in early, their ROI is amplified into the future, because while the ROI is always in Titan-X terms from the creation side, right? If 100% ROI is based on a ratio of Titan-X to TORUS, like we have right now, then if the price of 10X and TORUS equally go up 100X, the ROI is still 100% or whatever it was before. But getting that 100% ROI is, it can stretch more. It can handle more people searching for that or trying to get that 100% ROI. So yeah, Juke's making flowcharts as we speak. Actually, you know what I do? I do have a lucid diagram here that I can show you. I have to adjust it because of the X28 stuff that I haven't adjusted on this, but you will get this. Let me just find this tab and I'll get it open here. Give me 1 second, because I know flowcharts really help with this stuff. And it is difficult to follow when you've got just some dude talking at you on the internet trying to explain how it works. So actually, this is perfect. So, and this is actually a public, what's it called? Spreadsheet, flow diagram, however you want to call it as well. Let me just make sure I'm seeing this so you guys are seeing this. Perfect. Okay. So this is how I want to show you how the ROI works with TORUS. So users and creators earning from the TORUS pool, right? So there's only a couple things that makes the TORUS go down, right? Or the ROI. The price decreases for TORUS. Now this is relative to Titan-X, right? So the only two ways that the ROI can decrease is users create or stake, which adds more shares to the total pool, which means that everyone gets diluted a little bit, or the price decreases for TORUS relative to Titan-X. If the price decreases for TORUS, that doesn't kill your ROI, because your ROI is based on how much Titan-X you're supposed to get relative to how much you put in. So if TORUS and Titan-X stay neck and neck and they're just going up and down like crazy, the ROI would never change. The ROI would only change when some of these actions are being taken, right? So let's look at the users create or stake. So users create or stake, shares are added to the pool. More shares in the pool equals lower ROI for everyone else. But, right, what happens is as the total value of the pool goes up, let's say, like, think about it like this, right? If you have 10 tokens and there's 10 people and they each have $1 or one share in the pool, they're each going to get $1, right? But if those same 10 shares cost $10 each and you only had, now you had more people that are willing to buy, it might take you 100 people to buy up those same shares if everyone only wants to spend $1, but everyone's still getting the same ROI because the shares went up in value, but the amount of shares total in the pool stayed the same because the price went up, the cost went up, right? You can think about it like other tokens. I know we were talking about it on X today about talking about like T shares and stuff like that, but I'll steer clear from it for now. So here's the ways though that the ROI can go up. When people early end their stakes, which you can do at the 50% mark, or if users don't end their stake or creation before their 14-day grace period is up, the penalties get sent back to the users that are in the TORUS pool. So ROI would increase over that period. The buy and burn, and build, 92% of economic energy going back into TORUS is super bullish. And that's going to make it so that the ROI and the ratio between Titan-X and TORUS is always increasing. We're always trying to increase, right? Now, this is here probably one of the biggest things I want you guys to understand. When a stake or creation ends, the ROI for the whole pool will increase for everyone still in it. Imagine you've got a pool of people, right? And they're all earning TORUS. The shares, there's 100 shares, right? If someone has 10 shares in that pool, right? And on day 88, their stake or their creation is done, you remove them, the ROI is going to go up for everyone, right? Almost by 10%, just like that. And so you can imagine if masses of people are coming out of TORUS, the ROI is going to skyrocket again. And it's going to force people to think about whether or not they want to actually go somewhere else or they want to stay, right? So there's a lot going on with TORUS, but I hope you guys are getting it. Every time a cycle stops, the ROI skyrockets again. Exactly like hash power. So you can never, a TORUS can never be ignored, because when you're ignoring it, you are leaving an ROI on the table. When people are participating in it and things are going well, it has the room for it replaces green candles with ROI. So there's going to be a share button that is in the app where you can go and click share, and you'll be able to share your ROIs to social media to show them off, just like we had in the early days of TitanX. Now, here's where things get really cool though. So TORUS on its own, if we were to build TORUS, replace TORUS on, do we need anything else here? We'll come back to this. But so now TORUS generates its own ROI, right, from the system itself. So here's where things get magical. TORUS's ROI is amplified by TitanX. So what that means is, let's say over the course of 2, 3 cycles, 4 cycles, you got a total of 900% ROI, right? That's a 10x in TitanX terms. But what happens if TitanX did a 50x over that period? That would mean that you got a 500x over that period. Now, I know that's crazy. We're talking about like big numbers here, but that's the extreme side of it on how well it can go, right? And this is the point here of TORUS, is to allow you to keep going in, keep earning, keep building your position. So that way you are always able to make your tokens work for you. And let's talk about the creation side, because when we're talking about big ROIs like this, we're potentially talking about a lot of sell pressure, right? So when we're talking about a lot of sell pressure, let's talk about the flow diagram, the user experience here. So someone comes in and they want to create, okay? They create for TORUS for up to 88 days. TORUS shares generated. They earn from the TORUS pool. Let's say they're up massively. Let's say they're up 10x. I hope that's how big you guys win on this. I really do. And their stake or their creation ends and they're way up. And they're thinking, okay. And everyone else is thinking, okay, I'm gonna go back in, but the price plummets, right? And it comes down to a point where now creating is no longer viable. And staking is. Well, the main reason for the sell-off could have been partially profit, but was also to compound. And as soon as you eliminate the need to sell the compound, that the chart kind of stops or it slows. And now you have people that are going to potentially be buying on the market to get into staking, to protections. So this means that TORUS will, if it works like it's designed, have a buy and burn buying up the price of TORUS, a buy and build buying up the price of TORUS, mitigated sell pressure because of the dynamic that will switch over to incentivize staking when the price drops below a certain amount, and Also, to have just staking there in general, where people can just buy on the market and stake. So it's just there's so many pieces that are holding up TORUS and keeping it in a little window, right? If it stays too high above Titan X, eventually it'll come back down because there's going to be so much profit, right? If it gets too low, it's going to come back up because people are going to be buying it up because people are going to be leaving TORUS, right? The ROI will shrink. People will leave. The ROI will go back up. People will buy on the market cheap to get in for cheap to get an ROI. And it will constantly be bringing ETH and Titan X into the system. So there's a lot going on here. A lot going on. But I'm really hoping that you guys are paying attention to this. You're learning. And very soon, I'm going to actually be able to give you a longer, more detailed update of like with the DApp and whatnot. We're almost in audits. We're very, very close. We're just implementing a few of these changes that I've gone over with you today. Audits will be very soon. DApp integration. And I'll see if I can give you guys a sneak peek at some point soon on the DApp, because I know that when it comes to this stuff, it's so easy to look at these flow charts, to look at all this stuff and just kind of feel dizzy from it all, right? And that's not what I want. This is to understand how to utilize the system, how much impact the system could have, how profitable the system can be. It's flywheel mechanics and how it helps Titan X and how Titan X helps it, and so on and so forth, right? But none of this illustrates the simplicity of it from a user experience. Now, TORUS is literally going to be a giant block. It's going to look like this. What did I just do? Let's just create this down here. It's going to be a giant block here that you're going to be able to type in your power. It'll be, it'll show your length that you want to create for. It's going to show you all your details here, including your ROI. And then it's going to say create here. This is how simple it's going to be. You can have a power, a length, all your details, including your ROI. And let's just make this here. ROI. This is how simple it's going to be. You choose how much essentially you want to put into the system, for how long. Here's your ROI, create. And then below it, there's going to be a little menu where you're going to see everything that you can just easily keep track of, including your start and end date and all the data that you need. It's all going to be so simple. I know this is very complicated to go on the back end and go all this, and it's important to go over. But now let's go another layer deeper here. Let's stop sharing this for a second here. And let me go to a certain place that you guys are already very bullish on and very familiar with. So let's go to, let's see here. Ouroboros. So what happens if you've got a compounding machine and you've got Ouroboros, which is your ticket to come and play with the bank? And you could, when you want to cash out, you could potentially, if Ouroboros decides to use TORUS as collateral, it could be a perfect scenario for you to take advantage of your bag. And you could have a bag that's constantly, every 88 days, like a golden goose, printing TORUS that you can use to come in, take more loan, create more golden eggs, and so on and so forth. Also, what if you did get a big bag, you wanted to stake, but you also wanted to do something else with it? Well, what if Titan Farms had a farm of Titan X to TORUS. So now you've got staking, creating, Titan farms, and Ouroboros, where you could potentially utilize your TORUS tokens with. 4 different ways to make income or passive income at whatever schedule you want. Pretty damn cool if you ask me. I think it's super bullish for the future. It gives you so much flexibility, and you are going to be able to stake and earn yield with your tokens. Or when the market's going really, really well, you're going to be able to earn pretty insane compounding ROI over a short period of time. And you never have to trust the contract for more than 88 days at a time. You don't have to lock up for 15 years. You don't have to lock up for 10 years. And this is it. This is TORUS. It has this much potential. And let me just end this screen share here. So where am I? So these are the big changes and why, what's going on, and where we're at. Again, we're probably about a couple weeks away from most things being done. Waiting for the audit to come out, or the audit to go into audit over the next week or so, and then testing, and then another audit just to make sure everything's good. And assuming that is great, then we are good to go for whatever makes sense. Now, let's talk about the state of the ecosystem. Is it a good time to launch that right now? Well, here's all I can say to you. Because I've been really thinking about this. Obviously, this is something that everyone's got to think about when you build something. It's like, well, if you launch when no one's looking, is it like you launched at all? But also, if you launch when the prices are low enough, you have a marketing plan, people are excited about it, word spreads, you have an opportunity to gain a number of Titan X tokens into the system to build liquidity, to get set up for when the price of Titan X and TORUS rise again. It has an incredibly solid foundation, right? So when we're done building everything and all the audits are done, there is no guarantee that TORUS will go live right away. But I wanted to just plant that seed, and also say that if it also makes sense to launch it in a couple of weeks, then it'll happen. But it just depends. I'm going to be talking to a lot of very smart people who are smarter than I am and have more experience in this than me, including Jake and Eric and many others. And we'll make it happen. But what I want to hear from is you guys. I know this chat's been a little quiet at the moment, because I've been explaining a lot, which is totally fine. I'm happy to keep going. We got 250 people that are watching in total, mostly on cryptographics, and some even on the TORUS win page. So that's really all I have for you guys. I don't want to go too deep on anything else, really. I feel like I've given you guys a lot. Unless you have any more questions, if anyone that wants to come in the chat, ask some questions, and get me on another tirade, I'm happy to go on one. But I don't want to go on one for the sake of going on one. I want there to be an actual question. So I'll give it another minute or so, and then we can probably just end the stream there, which I think is totally fine. 45 minutes, almost 50 minutes now is plenty. And remember, guys, when it comes to this ecosystem, let me just share this. I realized I wasn't sharing my screen when I was talking about the price. So we're kind of just going down. We're just chilling. We're coming back down to this all-time low area here. But if we look at the wrapped ETH chart, it tells a different story. It's kind of looking like a double bottom here. Now, I've said that before. I've said it looks like a bottom. So don't listen to me. I don't even listen to me anymore. I'm my own emotional indicator these days. But what I would say, guys, is look, price is going to do what price is going to do. We all know that the system, Titan X, all the other pieces built on top of it, Phoenix, Matrix, Hyper, Dragon X, all the 34 protocols that I'm not going to name drop all right now, but and 20 some odd that are coming. They're all coming for good reason, because Titan X is a system that we believe in. and you believe in, most likely if you're watching this. And so at some point, this will turn around. This happens to almost every project where it just gets dumped down. It goes through its capitulation phase, and then it recovers. And so the chart only means so much temporarily. Crypto changes so fast, right? Like if we go from bottom to top, from when it started to when it topped, 78 days. From top to where we are now, 120 days. So crypto goes faster up than it goes down. Clearly, right? So unless it's a rug pull, which we're an anti-VC, anti-rug pull, fair launch crypto. We don't have to worry about that. But it's likely that this takes longer before it starts to correct and comes back up. It could just instantly start correcting over the next week or two here. It very well could. But the point I'm trying to make is more about stop looking at the chart and remember the fundamentals. Look at the data, look at the supply stats, look at what's coming. And if you're watching this, make sure you are, sharing posts, sharing streams like this, doing what you can to get the word out, right? There's so much happening behind the scenes, guys. There's so much to be bullish for that I would say just rest easy, go outside, get away from the computer, stop looking at the price chart for a little while, and just allow the process to happen. And for TORUS, this is the approach I'm taking. And I'm talking to many great people that I really trust their opinions. And if TORUS comes out, there's going to be a major push to grow the community, because the one thing I want personally with TORUS is for TORUS to not simply be for an echo chamber, for a group of people that's already here and that's it. The point of TORUS is to expand beyond the community, to create new community, to build something much broader, right? And to bridge into other communities and bring other communities together into what TitanX is and bring in adoption. It's why I created the logo that I did, why it's got the name it is, the system it does. It's designed for that. Okay. So anyways, though, I'm going on all sorts of monologues here, but let's just say I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. I think TORUS is going to do a whole hell of a lot for the ecosystem, and it's just going to be a lot of fun because it's the first of its kind. It's never been done before, and I really can't wait. So thanks, guys. And if you wanted to see another stream like this soon, drop a comment. If you wanted a voice chat in the Telegram, please drop a comment as well. Let me know, or hop in the Telegram and let me know personally. And I would definitely consider doing one either tonight or tomorrow night, but I need your engagement. So thanks, guys. Have a great night. And the age of TORUS is coming very soon. Peace.